Nearly half of all Americans rely on prescription drugs for their health issues. So could President Trump's new executive order actually save money on medication? Today, the president ordered big pharma companies to slash prices on some of their medicines. The policy encourages these corporations to offer a price equal to the cost of the same drug in other countries, which is often much cheaper there. If the big pharma companies don't willingly comply, Trump will order Health and Human Services Department to explore other policies to bring the prices down.
Some prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices will be reduced almost immediately by 50 to 80 to 90%. Big Pharma will either abide by this principle voluntarily or will use the power of the federal government to ensure that we are paying the same price as other countries.
Now, Americans pay significantly more for prescription drugs compared to what people in other developed nations spend. We spend up to 10 times as much on insulin and over 4 times as much on branded drugs. Take, for example, the popular weight loss drug Ozempic. It can cost it's about $1,000 in the United States, but the same drug is sold in Canada for $155 and only $59 in Germany. Pharma stocks actually rose today in relief as Wall Street was worried that the president would actually propose legislation, which could have been more severe. So does this new executive order really mean anything? Does it mean you'll be spending less and saving more on your medications? And what does it mean for all the massive research and development that's required to bring any of these new drugs to the market? Joining me now is Bill Soliman, former pharmaceutical executive and CEO of the Accreditation Council for Medical Affairs. So this executive order basically asks drug companies to voluntarily lower their prices. Can President Trump force them to do that?
Absolutely not. In his first administration, he tried to do this.
He tried.
It was blocked by a federal judge. The issue really with this executive order is it's missing a lot of details, right? So it's a lot of bark and no bite from my perspective, because in the end of the day, you not only got to get the pharma companies to agree, but you've also got to get, in the other countries, get them to agree to tell you what the retail price is. There's actually nothing to force them to do that, right? So for a lot of these pharmaceutical companies, there's very little incentive, obviously, to do that, and it's very little that's going to be able to make them be enforced to do that.
Why do the big pharma companies charge Americans so much more than they charge the Brits or the Canadians or the Germans?
A big reason is the pharmacy benefit managers. We call them the middlemen. The pharmacy benefit managers negotiate drug pricing, rebates, discount on behalf of the health insurers. So, for example, if you're a company that makes Ozempic, right? Ozempic could be put on a particular tier in the formulary for the insurance company, and based on that negotiation by the PBM, where it's put in that tier, that determines the price, the copay, and how much reimbursement you're going to get.
Okay, but in other countries, what happens is the government actually negotiates directly with the pharmaceutical company for a price for all of the citizens of their country. So the leaders of Great Britain negotiate a price for Ozempic in Great Britain that is $93 for Ozempic, while in the United States, we're relying on this middleman who is sticking us with a price that's in excess of $1,000 for the exact same dose of the drug.
Yeah, that's basically what's happening, right? These middlemen are forcing pharma manufacturers to have to hike up the price. Remember, for a pharmaceutical company, they have to make the bulk of all of their profit before the patent life expires and runs out. So for these pharmaceutical companies, they're being forced in a lot of ways to have to hike up the price to make up for the rebate they have to give back to the pharmacy benefit manager.
So we're basically, American citizens are funding the research and development that these companies, and the profits that these companies make off these drugs, and that everybody else doesn't have to pay for.
Pretty much, absolutely. The other thing, too, that's important is that in the other countries, part of the equation that the pharma company calculates, right, in their mind, and I worked in the pharma industry for many, many years, is what will the market bear? They know very well that certain markets will bear a certain cost and other markets will bear a higher cost. So that's factored into the pricing model, unfortunately.
Every business does that, though.
Exactly,
you charge more for the same item in New York City than you do in Wichita, Kansas, because you can sell it here for more money. Okay, here's the question. There are some... The drug companies do argue there are some advantages to, believe it or not, us paying more. One of the advantages, they say, is we get access to a lot more drugs than people in Europe or Canada or other countries buying the drugs do. We get it faster than people in those countries do.
Right.
So we don't have to wait as long, and we have a greater ability to buy medications that we may want. than people in other countries do. I mean, we've all, yes, Ozempic's a lot cheaper in Great Britain, but you might have to wait 9 months to get it.
Right. Yeah, so this is really important. In the United States, you do have better access, you have better care overall versus other developed countries. But remember, the #1 reason for care delay in America is prior authorizations. Many patients today, they get denied services, treatment. They have to go through a lot of roadblocks and hurdles to get access to these medications. We're talking about GLP-1 agonists, all the weight loss drugs. Many of those weight loss drugs, you have to get a lot of prior authorizations. You have to do a lot of things first before you're even eligible for those drugs. That's an important consideration. It's not that easy. And remember, for this particular executive order, the impact is really on Medicare.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
It's Medicare, who are Americans over 65 on Medicare, not anybody else under. So he was just promising in that sound clip he would lower the prices of drugs for people on Medicare by 50 to 90%.
Right, right.
First of all, is that feasible? And second of all, what does that mean for all the rest of us?
Here's the thing. In the United States, over half of the population, they get their insurance through what? Through their employers. It's private insurance. So for the rest of us, it's not going to actually make much of a difference. Right?
No money savings?
No, actually, there could be a higher copay because the pharma company may offset the loss of revenue on the Medicare side, which is about 20% of the country.
By charging all the rest of us more.
Exactly, yeah. So, and remember, most of those patients that are on Medicare, the old elderly patients, they're taking generic drugs. Generic drugs, on average, they average in the United States about $20 on average. So even if you were to reduce the price by 50%, the savings is still minimal overall, right? So I think this is important to kind of keep in mind. Again, I think a lot of details are still missing from the executive order.
The headline sounds very, very good.
Yes,
when
it
you
sounds
dive
great.
a little bit deeper, that it becomes a little less clear.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.